we have the two main pieces that comprise the plane, and they are the main wing, and that's joined together right in this section between where the support for the motor mount goes and the front nose area here. And this is this little, what I call the part of the fuse pan. This is another fuse pan, the forward fuse pan. I use a this piece is very important. You get these lines, everything to line up here, and of course your motor mount to line up. And then I tape a piece of this is 5.3 millimeter carbon tube across there at a point where it was equal to the back side of this motor mount area, so the motor mount can come up, hit the tube, and rest against that, and that keeps it nice and straight. You may or may not have to shim it depending upon how well you cut the parts out. But what we create here, of course, is very typical with the 5-easy piece. We create sort of a boat shape, and we take the hot glue gun when we glue it together at this stage, and we add glue, of course, to each of these points and into here and into there. You would glue these two halves together, of course, and then down through these grooves once this is all put together, and that helps hold all that together. And then you can, right now I just got tape on here just to hold them together. You can sometimes just overcast that with tape if you want a little bit more strength, or if you're looking for pretty, then don't do that. Then just use tape to hold it together to glue it, and then you can take it off and sand it and do whatever. This is the main fuse, which, as you can see, basically each side is one piece that's about, well, not quite 4 foot long. It just fits on the sheet. There is one score fold line on that main sheet, and that's down either side of where the canopy would be. And what I do on the inside of that is I add tape. In this case I added a clear tape, but that's your option, clear tape, or the I also like to use the strapping tape from Scotch, or shipping tape, but it has the fiberglass strands in it. I use that a lot for hinges and such, and also to more critical areas to hold the plane together. But anyway, the fuse cap, it's important to get that on the plane registered correctly, and the distance that you want from the end, well, is to start that is about 20¼ inches. So if you wanted to, I didn't put a mark on the pattern, but that's where you want to start this, and then work your way, work the fuse together. If you get these pieces off, it causes a twisting. So if you got when you're done, if you got a fuse that looks twisted, then you know you didn't get them, they didn't start equally from each end. Now what I typically do with this is, though, these are beveled. This edge I bevel here, and I bevel it all the way forward, and I bevel this fuse cap piece on each edge, you know, looking inward like that, so that they come together, and then I add glue down through here. Now it's important, though, when you're doing that this be the correct distance apart. So what I typically would do is make a piece, measure this distance here between these two slots, and then make a piece of foam that holds them exactly that distance apart. Now if they're a little wide of that, that's okay, but you don't want it inward of that because it makes it harder to pull out. And that way you have that on there when you glue this, so you keep that angle correct. Now as to this score fold that's here, I would not glue that ahead of fastening it into the main wing, and that's just with 4 tabs here. It just sets in there like that, and if you've got this glued together correctly, these should just come right out to where these edges meet the bottom and right on out. Okay? Now then that determines the relief. Once you get this out here like this, I would wait until I got that all put together, and then just add a little bit of glue down through there. That could be your foam tack, that could be hot glue, whatever, just to kind of hold that distance apart, because it's not straight, it's tipped in slightly. Now if you really want to bend that in and add glue and do that, you can. I've done that a couple of times when I repaired the fuse to give it a little bit slightly more pronounced. You can do that. That's totally up to you. But check the lookout before, you know, how that's going to look. If you want to do that, that's really not going to hurt anything. Just don't get it too much. Don't put too much in there. Don't get too big of a width. It's just that score fold relieves that pressure there. Gives it the right look. Now, trident tail concept here. These two pieces that come back are beveled here. Like we bevel this center line and we bevel these pieces, right? And this stays square, and these pieces will sit right there in that notch and create your tail structure. Just like that. So, that's how that works. Let's put a couple of pieces of tape. Just temporary tape on that to hold it. I'm just going to take a piece, an inch and a half long off the roll. I'm going to rip it in half. I want to push that end piece up against the stop there. We're supposed to stop. Tape it together. Okay. Now I've got my basic shape here for the plane. Okay. Well, let's take a word about these wings while we're looking at the wings. This, according to the information I got on this F-4, these wing tips, which originally started out flat, in the wind tunnel they found that they tipped them up, they increased the stability greatly. But they only tip up at 12 degrees. So you need to make yourself get a protractor, make yourself a little pattern, piece here, that rather than make a little sliver 12 degrees, just take 12 degrees off 180, and then use that larger piece, and that'll help you get that angle right, so you can glue those in place. These are not glued on, they're just clamped on there. So, but it's not that much. 12 degrees is not that much. But that's all you need, and that if you get it too high, then it starts going to act more like almost a wingtip rudder type of thing, and you're going to lose some lift from it. But if it's angled up, you get some stability, get that dihedral stability, and still some lift. Anyway, moving on. Okay, now we're going to look at putting the nacelles in. Now I've gone ahead and put these pieces together. There's 3 pieces to the nacelles. There's the side piece. There's the front top piece, which has a score fold line here, which actually, I just cut it loose, and I bevel one of them here, leaving the main piece square. So this comes down, this bevels down, and this helps the airflow into the prop. And then this is the rear piece. It has 2 score folds here, which help give the nacelle look of the nacelle. Let's look on the flying version here. As you see how that worked out, you've got the fuse coming in here, making that trident tail, and you've got this rear fuse, or this fuse coming in here, that's score folded around to kind of give that roundness. So anyway, that's how that looks. So now we're going to show you how that goes together. I bevel top and this side of the fuse piece. I leave this side square, and I bevel this section here that way. It's just going to butt up against our fuse. So let's put the left-hand fuse piece on, or left-hand nacelle on. Here's a nacelle. 2 tabs. It sets down through. Now, if you got the tube on here, you're going to want to make a little bit of a notch like I've got there, so that that notches over the top of the tube, and then this comes back and notches around the end of the wing here. And then there's another little tab that fits down in a notch at the front to kind of help hold that together. And then I didn't give you notches on the pattern for this. What I typically do is I see where it's going to go, and I just cut them in as I'm working, like I did here. And that way, if you want to vary that a little bit, I keep mine about 1/4 inch below that score fold line there for the canopy. But anyway, these pop in those holes. This piece goes down like that and is glued in along there. This little notch fits up into there, and this should cover that. Could be pulled up and to cover that gap there, like that. And actually, you see you got the whole roundness thing going on. If you get that right, these go together here to give you that, and that's how that goes together. And same thing for the other side. There's also these little pieces here that I bevel the edges on them, and then typically turn I turn mine in because that's more like the real one, and I've put a notch in the pattern so you know which is the back side. And those set in here like this with this aspect pointing down, that's the downside, and it just slips right in the hole there and actually hangs below the wing like that. Just kind of eyeball them in there and glue them in, one for each side. Of course, you're showing the KMF airfoils. The rudder. You go ahead and put these two together like that, and that leaves you a nice little slot if you cut that correctly. And you just slide the rudder up in there, and then slide this end piece back into that knot.